Throughout NBA history, we have seen the world's greatest basketball players. We all know the legends: LeBron, MJ, Kobe, Shaq, Wilt, Kareem, child molester Malone, the list goes on. However, we, as NBA fans, do forget some of the greats, those who, during their prime, were elite and on top of the league, but didn't have the long-term success, flashy play style, and outstanding accolades of the more memorable players. Many guys go under the radar when thinking about the former stars, guys such as Darren Williams, Andre Kirilenko, who I will definitely be making a video on, Detlef Schrempf, Rip Hamilton, Brandon Roy, Elton Brand, and many more forgotten all-stars who had immense value during their heydays. The subject of today's video is Shawn Marion, one of my favorite players ever, as well as one of the most underrated ever. Known largely for his unorthodox shooting form, hustle, energy, and defense, many forget that Marion was a great scorer and a double-double machine, as he was a great rebounder. Marion was one of the most versatile players of all time. He was a polished post scorer, an amazing athlete, a shaky but good shooter for a good portion of his career, a great rebounder, and an elite defender, which he never received proper accommodation for. I'll get into that later. Just to show how versatile he was, only 4 players in NBA history have had a season in which they put up at least 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block per game. These players being David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shawn Marion. Although it should be noted that Elvin Hayes missed this mark by a legit 2 steals in 1975. If he would have just sat out a game that season, he would have hit it. Shawn Marion came into the league in the 1999-2000 season after being drafted 9th by the Phoenix Suns. He would be joining a team who, in the previous season, had a whole lot of offense and a severe lack of defense. They would add even more offense that season, bringing in Penny Hardaway and Rodney Rogers, to add on to former All-Stars Cliff Robinson, Tom Gugliotta, as well as rising star Jason Kidd. Marion had competition for minutes at the 4 and on the wing. In his NBA debut, he would show off his all-around game, posting a double-double with 14 points and 14 rebounds. After only playing in 54 games his rookie year, Marion would see huge jumps in numbers his sophomore year, getting a 12-minute per game increase, as well as elevating his stats to 17 points, almost 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.4 blocks per game. In 2003, he would make his first All-Star team, putting up 21 points, 9.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game. He would also shoot 39% from 3 on a career-high 4.5 attempts per game. He would miss the All-Star game in 2004 and would make it again in 2005, in his first season playing full-time power forward, with Amar'e Stoudemire playing center that season and also getting out-rebounded by Marion. In 2006, he carried Steve Nash to his second straight bullshit MVP and one of the worst MVP voting ballots I've ever seen. I'd like to take a moment to point out a few things about that ballot. Chauncey Billups finished 5th with 18-8 and he shot 41% from the field that season. Like Kobe averaged 35 a game that season, a whole 12 points more per game, and was still able to get to league average from the field. Mr. Big Shit also finished above Dwayne Wade, who would get a title that year, but also averaged 27, 6, and 7, with 2 steals in the regular season. Also, this is debatable, but Tim Duncan finished with more votes than Marion when he only beat him in assists by 1 assist per game, and blocks, which was by 0.3 per game. I mean, you could say Tim Duncan was the best player on his team and Marion maybe wasn't, but they were both the first options for their team, both power forwards, and Marion had a lower usage and a higher plus-minus and more win shares, so... Anyways, back to Marion's career. Enough of this recap bullshit, we all know what happened. After Marion's attempt of trying to carry those fast-paced Suns teams that never played defense, he got moved around a bit and then went to Dallas to reunite with former teammate Jason Kidd, and won a championship with the 2011 Dallas team, which was the epitome of hard work, hustle, and teamwork. He stayed with Dallas for a few more years and then went to Cleveland for his last year in 2015, and tried to reteach LeBron what defense is, and was obviously unsuccessful. Anyways, Shawn Marion had a long and successful NBA career. He was always a reliable player who would give 110%, go for every loose ball, play fantastic defense on anyone on the court you asked him to, be a terror in transition, and be a great team player. He's had many accolades throughout his career, including All-Stars, 2 All-NBA third-team selections, a championship, but never did receive an All-Defensive team. I'm going to go out right now and say he is the greatest defensive player to never make one since they were invented. He has 61.3 defensive win shares in his career, including 4 seasons of 5 or more, his career high being 6.4 in his second year, 2001, more than every forward who made an all-defensive team that year except for Tim Duncan, who led the league in defensive win shares. A large part of why he never made one, despite being one of the best defenders in the league for about 7 years, was not only him being a part of the 7 seconds or less Suns teams, which were notorious for being terrible defensively, although some of those stats were a bit inflated due to the pace, is he was a forward. He had to compete with defensive legends such as the previously mentioned Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett. But also, I read on Reddit someone saying back then all defensive teams were really a couple of elite defenders and then great offensive players who played solid defense, which does have some truth to it. He did have to compete with LeBron as well. If Shawn Marion would have played today, he'd easily be a top 15 player in my opinion. Very similar to Draymond in terms of the size and versatility, Marion was way more athletic back in his day, and while not the playmaker Dre is, Marion was a great scorer, something Draymond has never been able to do. I love the idea of Marion potentially playing small ball 5 like Draymond does now. It'd be crazy to see, especially considering how good of a rebounder or rim protector Marion was, plus his verticality. I've also seen people on Reddit who watched Marion back in the day call Prime Marion a superior defender to Draymond, and that's a matter of interpretation in the eye test. Shawn Marion is one of the most versatile players ever, and potentially the most versatile player of the 2000s. Him and Dirk are the only players in NBA history with at least 15,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 1,000 blocks, 1,000 steals, and 500 three-pointers made. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. One of the most underrated players ever. I intend to make this a series, so please let me know what you thought of the video, what kind of videos you want to see, what kind of style you want me going through with this. And yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more.